Something I'm asked more than anything is what is the difference between a marketing manager and a marketing director, and how can I make steps to progress towards the higher role? Something that's really unique in B2B marketing is that oftentimes a marketing director is purely in that role because they spent a certain number of years doing the work of a marketing manager, but they never actually end up strategic. It's one of the reasons why a lot of the people who take my course, the B2B Breakthrough Academy, are in fact marketing directors because they need to still learn strategy, even though they've been promoted into that role. Welcome back to the B2B Marketing Gap podcast with me, B2B Jade. I'm so happy you're here. If you don't already know me, I'm B2B Jade and I help marketing managers exactly like you get unstuck, get more strategic, and get the respect they're craving from their leaders. With almost 20 years experience in B2B marketing, I'm here to share all the highs, all the lows, everything I learned along the way. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my updates. So let's take a look at the differences between a marketing manager role, a marketing director role, and what you can do to fill that gap and get a promotion. The first point I want to make that really winds me up is that marketing managers are by nature an operational role. And so what that means is you're there to deliver against a set strategy. So your job is in many ways to be a yes person. I've always seen operational roles as yes roles because if you think about a factory where there's a warehouse, you've got the strategic thinkers who are laying out how's this going to work, how we're going to optimize this to make as many loaves of bread as possible with reduced waste, will be profitable. And then the person who maybe runs the operational line, their job is to make it happen, to say, yep, we can do that. Yep, we can tweak this. Yes, we're going to implement what you've suggested. And that doesn't mean they would never rise up and say, oh, there's a better way to do this specific thing you've asked us, but it's not their role to strategically assess what the overall warehouse should be doing. That is genuinely why I think B2B marketing gets so stuck in the companies we're working in, is because we know that what we're being told to do by leaders who aren't marketers isn't really going to work. We know that constantly changing the goalposts, constantly changing the plan, constantly trying new techniques and tactics isn't going to work. But we're fundamentally in a yes role. We are operational. So what can we do? Because the role of the marketing director is to sit on the board alongside the other directors while the plans are being formulated, to ask questions, to prod, to challenge. And the seniority that comes with that role means it's possible. But the other issue you might have faced, and you may be a marketing director yourself, is that you may have found that you got promoted as a result of years of service as opposed to actually delivering on a strategy that you developed and learnt, because the person above you who potentially was a marketing director also was a victim of this marketing gap that I talk about so often. So all we're really doing is celebrating years of service, of delivering multiple tasks at once. And then the business almost gets comfortable with the idea that marketing doesn't particularly deliver. And they're like, okay, well, sales will close, marketing will do the bits and pieces that we need. That's okay. We'll promote you because you've been saying yes, you've been delivering on the deadlines, and all we're really going to do is give you a bit more money, raise the pressure, but not actually change anything. So what you're going to find is that you're going to feel imposter syndrome. You're going to feel like, why can't I deliver on my role? Why aren't I getting the results that I so crave? Well, it's because you were never taught how to practically implement a marketing strategy. And this is why there are so many people on my marketing strategy course, the B2B Breakthrough Academy, which, by the way, the next cohort is opening on April 7th. So if you do want to join us, I've got a new reduced price for you to join. I just wanted to make the course accessible to loads more marketing managers, and I am, spoiler alert, working on some new launches in the coming months. So I just want to get as many people in as possible before I move on to some new exciting things. Have a little look at the link in the show notes if you do want to join us. But back to my point. So many marketing managers join my course because they understand that even though they're already in the role that they're working towards with becoming strategic, they can see that they actually haven't learned strategy. And even marketers with degrees, you wouldn't believe how many people tell me, I had no idea before I took this course how to write a marketing strategy because everything I learned was so theoretical, and everything I took to my business in terms of the models I'd learned, they just didn't really understand. They just kind of brushed it off. So it's really about learning a practical approach to building a marketing strategy you can actually deliver. And so if you are a marketing director watching thinking, everything that she's describing is not me, I still get imposter syndrome, I still am not taken seriously by the board, just know that you're definitely not alone, and you can get started with the freebie I've linked in the show notes about the 6 steps involved in a marketing strategy, just so you can look at which areas you feel like you could improve on, Or maybe even just to give yourself the confidence of, great, I've done all this. Another big indicator that you're at marketing director level as opposed to marketing manager level is that marketing managers will talk a lot about operations and tactics, what we're doing, the how, the who, the budget, how we're going to split that out. Whereas a marketing director is more of a why person. Why are we looking at it like this? Shouldn't we be looking at it like that? What's the problem behind this? What is it that we're trying to get to? So you'll often hear marketing directors trying to get to the root of the real challenge. For example, if you've got a salesperson saying, I want a campaign to go out next week, blah, 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 they would more say, tell me what the challenge is. What's going on for you? Why are you wanting to do something like this? Oh, well, no one's ever heard of us when I mention the company. Okay, so we've got a brand awareness issue. Let me talk to you about some of the things within the existing strategy that are working towards that. Brilliant, share your ideas with me. That doesn't mean we're necessarily going to do exactly what you've suggested, but I'm really on board with helping you with what's going on right now. Or maybe the business is flapping because they're losing customers. The marketing director won't just say, oh, I'll send out a campaign. The marketing director will say, well, why are they leaving us? Do we have any insights? And if they don't have insights, the marketing director would likely want to gather some. I really believe that the reason so many marketing managers like you, or even marketing directors watching, why you're struggling so much to get results and respect in your company, I really believe that it's because there is this huge void that I call the B2B marketing gap, where leadership sits here and you sit here as marketing manager, and there's a big void where a strategy should be. While that's not there, you're actually never going to see eye to eye. The leadership are going to be asking you, where are the results? Where are the leads? Why aren't you getting success? And then you're going to be saying, I need the resources. Why are you not giving me a proper strategy? Why am I not having clarity? And because you're not senior enough to be in that boardroom taken seriously as a fellow director, and you don't necessarily have the skills to try and take a business strategy and turn it into a marketing strategy and then a marketing activity plan, you're tending to dive straight into marketing activities based off of what they're telling you is needed, and you're not currently dissecting what sits behind what they're saying they need. You're just taking their ideas and doing them, which is doing a disservice to not only the company you're in, but to you as a marketer and to the people who hired you. The biggest misconception in B2B marketing is that achieving and saying yes to things and doing the things we're asked is succeeding in our role. I would never say you're failing in your role for doing what's asked of you, because in many ways, you're actually satisfying the needs internally. And I've gone too far the other way, where I was in a company once where I was so obsessed with getting them to be more strategic with a long-term view that I kind of halted some of the more immediate things that they wanted to keep going. And then I was seen as kind of not really doing anything. So definitely don't recommend that you go down that road. What I would say is that you are literally wasting your career by just sitting there doing a bunch of stuff that isn't leading to tangible results. And if you want proof of this, you can just ask your business, how long have we been trying different things to get results from the marketing? Usually it's not actually the tactics and techniques that you're investing in, but it's the short-sightedness. It's we did 3 podcast episodes and gave up. We sent an email newsletter out for 3 months and we weren't able to get the content, so we just threw out anything that wasn't relevant. All we talked about was ourselves. We weren't truly resonating with audiences. A great example of this is that I now do my own marketing for my own business. And so I can't get away with not getting results. I don't have the time and bandwidth to put out campaigns if they're not going to deliver a return. So if my messaging is not spot on, there's no point in me sending a campaign out. I may as well just go hang out with my kids and just accept I'm not having sales for 3 months. Because if I don't hit the nail on the head with the messaging and my content that really resonates with you, as much as it's my mission here to help you get more strategic, whether you pay me or not, there's no real point in me putting out content because I won't achieve my mission of making marketing managers more strategic. There's just no point in doing it. And so what we really need to look at is what are we missing in our strategic planning that's leading us to just putting out really poor campaigns and just doing stuff for the sake of it. For example, you could have a really good operational marketing plan that's based on putting out really good content, running ads, PR, partnerships, loads of stuff. But if you haven't realised that the positioning of your business is wrong and is not hitting the mark with your customers, it's not highlighting, here is why we would be a really good option for you over and above the other options available, in line with all the things you've tried and all the things you're frustrated about. If your messaging is not absolutely nailing that, you will just be in a sea of your competition. like purely looked at on price, purely dealt with when sales reach out to them. There won't be any of this kind of cutting through with content that we're putting out on socials or through email or through PR. We won't be cutting through because it will just be noise. And in some ways, in businesses like that, you might as well just cut marketing altogether if it's not having any impact whatsoever. If you do want to get more strategic, you should definitely look into joining my next group of students in B2B Breakthrough Academy. We start on April 7th and there are some seats still available. You'll get all the templates that you need to build your marketing strategy. And the great news is simple is better. So we follow a process that makes sense. There's absolutely zero jargon. You can sign up through the link in the show notes or just go to b2bjade.com just go to b2bjade.com and click course and you'll get all the information there because I obviously don't know my URLs very well. You're going to get live coaching calls with me to keep you on track and a community of people who know exactly what you're going through. At a new reduced price of just $650 plus VAT, this is an absolute steal. I truly believe that my course is worth £2,000. Genuinely, I think that what you get from it is transformative. But what I do know is that your bosses do not always give you the budgets you need. And I've seen so many students pay for it themselves and I'm not happy about it. So I just want to make this as accessible and affordable to as many marketers as possible. With that in mind, we also have split pay, meaning you can join from as little as 325 plus VAT, which I just think, how awesome. Like, just get in there for 300 quid and a little bit more. It's nice to talk about the course a bit. I never push it. I never sell it enough, but I just think it's such a good course. Like, I built what I would have wanted when I was a marketing manager. I was so lost. I was so confused. I was so stuck. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. I knew I needed to be more strategic, but I also didn't quite know what that meant. So I was saying no to a lot of things, but not necessarily putting forward the right things. And I know from experience too, that the people who've had marketing degrees, who've taken all of the marketing courses out there that are maybe a little bit more gritty and meaty, which I've taken myself, so valuable, but not necessarily telling you like what to actually do. And so after the 10 weeks within this program, you will have a marketing presentation of your strategy as an outline to present to leadership, as well as a really meaty document behind the scenes that includes everything that you need to get your plan activated. I also have a marketing agency that can help you implement it once you've built it. And so we can talk about that once you've finished working through the course program. So in conclusion, the best way to move from marketing manager up to marketing director is to learn strategy. And that all starts with the marketing review within my course or whichever program you're going to follow to do that. You've got to get clarity from the business on where are we right now? Where do we want to get to? And what are the big things that stand in our way? Then you can start to map out how marketing can be involved. When we look at marketing objectives, this is where most people end up going the wrong way. You've got the review, the objectives, the strategies, the tactics, the measurement and control, and then the actual operational plan that you will then pitch to your leaders. What can happen if you don't follow a program that's keeping you within strict guidance, which is what I do, I keep you on track, is you kind of do this. You go off like that with your objectives being in the wrong direction. So that is the value of coming together with a group of people who get it. They keep you on the straight and narrow to creating your strategy, as opposed to filling in a bunch of templates on your own and kind of ending up just exactly where you are. Whether you join my course or not, this is not about selling to you. You definitely need to start asking the questions that will show your leadership that you care about more than vanity metrics, you care about more than campaigns, and you are there to truly understand what is going on in this business and how marketing can support. Try to also remember as you get more strategic, for me, this was the most transformational thing. The definition of marketing, well, the Chartered Institute of Marketing's definition of marketing is anticipate, identify, and satisfy customer needs while making a profit. They also like to throw in there the ethical component as well, because I think that's huge. It's not okay to lie or manipulate in marketing, whether people tell you this or not. It absolutely is okay to use psychology to get the right message to people, so that they're going to go, okay, yeah, that really clicks for me. But if we're making empty promises or even lying, that's unethical. And then when they become a customer, you're going to have really low retention rates because they're going to be like, that's not what they promised me. So ethical marketing is really important too. But anticipate and identifying customer needs is what it all needs to start with. For example, when I built my course, I wasn't going to build a course. I'd been on TikTok for a year and a half and I was like, what do people need from me? I can't coach anymore. I was doing one-to-one coaching with marketing managers and CEOs, and there were too many people coming in because the social media on TikTok was taking off, and there were just too many one-to-ones, and I found that I was doing the same thing over and over. People were asking me for templates. I hate templates. I was like, oh, like you've got to build it how you want it. But then I thought, why not just share with everybody the template of how I make marketing strategies for my CEO clients? Why not share that with them and then coach them through it? So in a way, when I did insight work then to figure out like what courses have you taken? Have you got a degree? What do you struggle with in your job? I got to the root of the issue of what my ideal client, i.e. a marketing manager in a B2B company that's under-resourced and undervalued and has imposter syndrome, I figured out that what was missing in the market was a practical course that would actually take them from frazzled and overwhelmed to having a real marketing strategy. Not like taking a course, learning loads of stuff, and then at the end going, okay, what do I do with it now? It's like a live working thing. So I built that from insights. By getting insights, by identifying our target audience's needs, that is such a huge part of product building and understanding what services we should provide, how our customers want things delivered to them. Even if you provide a service that's like a professional service that isn't going to change, the insight piece kind of helps you understand how do they want that delivered? What do they like? What do they not like? What frustrates them about your market in general? And then really helping your business to shape itself up to become that type of organization and support the business in its growth, like as opposed to only doing campaigns. That is truly what got me to be more strategic. It's like, do I know what our customers care about? Do I know them? Like that is why you exist. You know, if you had a cafe and like that cafe just had a bunch of like books and juice cartons in it, no one's going to go in there because they want breakfast. Like, or maybe the breakfast comes out but it's cold and so they start going somewhere else. It's like, let's understand what is it that our customers want from us and how are we going to set up our business to better deliver it. And yes, there'll be promotions, yes, there'll be campaigns, yes, there'll be things that we do to get people aware of us and interested in us and buying from us, but it all has to start back there. Otherwise, you're just going to be based off assumptions. I hope this video was helpful to you. Please give me a comment and let me know if you related to any of this. I'll be happy to jump into comments and give you any on-the-spot advice that might help you. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel to make sure that you get regular updates from me every time I post. Thank you so much. Have a great day.